All right, welcome, and today we're going to be talking about Geodon. And these are the top questions that our readers and our listeners have asked regarding Geodon. What is Geodon? Geodon is an atypical antipsychotic that is used to treat schizophrenia, used to treat bipolar, used to treat schizoaffective, and sometimes is used in conjunction with other medications such as antidepressants to help people with self-harm sort of things and sleep. What does Geodon do in the brain and how does it work? Well, the pharmaceutical jargon is creatively weak on saying this is how this works. And there's various reasons for that, but how they say it is blah, 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 blah is believed to blah, 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 blah. So how they believe that this drug works is that it holds back excitatory neurotransmitters such as dopamine and norepinephrine and glutamate, things that actually make you stand upright, that make you want to do something out in the world, that give you a reason to wake up and go do something, like actually give you a bit of a heartbeat as far as your passion in the world is. And physiologically, it's believed that these drugs hold back, like if you're having one nerve over there, talk to this nerve over here, and this is where the one drug or one nerve is holding the neurochemistry, holding the neurochemicals, and this is the other nerve receiving it. This is a synapse, okay? What the drug is believed to do is to hold back the amount of neurochemical that's released to excite this next nerve. So if that's not happening, then really nothing in the nervous system is happening, right? So the drug is actually pulling back the amount of reward that a person has access to, or the amount of stimulation that a person has access to. Next question, what are the side effects of Geodon? Well, anything that would be in the ilk of not having reward, not having libido, not having the desire to go out and find a significant other or stay with a significant other or go find a job, can inhibit your sexuality, can inhibit your performance at school as far as like wanting to get good grades. I mean, just your get up and go and your passion in life is the biggest hit, and how that manifests on all levels of your neurochemistry and within your spirit. What are the benefits of tapering off of Geodon? Well, most people want all that back, you know, all the stuff that got sacrificed from taking the drug, that sense of reward. That is the main reason why people want to taper off a drug like Geodon. Sometimes it's because they're having extrapyramidal symptoms, such as akathisia or tardive dyskinesia, or something where they're just, having a bad reaction to the drug. But all of us want to feel good. We want to feel like we have a purpose in the world. We want to feel like if I go do that job, I'm going to look at the completion of it and have a sense of reward. That is part of our neurochemistry that is a basic inherent human need. And when that's taken away and we don't have access to it anymore, life doesn't look that great. We're more or less, it's like the zombie apocalypse it is happening in our own life, that we're not able to actually live, So that's the main reason and the main benefits for tapering off of Geodon. I guess this question could be also like discontinuing Geodon by tapering or discontinuing it by just stopping. So antipsychotics are generally not a drug you want to just stop unless you're having a bad reaction to it, because it's sort of like, you're on top of the roof and it's no good up there. There's no access to life up there. You need to come down off the roof basically. But instead of like walking down the stairs, it's like you just step off the roof. Of course you're going to break your legs or your head or something. That's like coming cold turkey off of an antipsychotic. It is more than likely going to land a person in the hospital, especially if that's what they're prone to. Now, some people it was just given to help them with sleep or something, and if they haven't been taking it for very long, yes, they can just, reduce it faster. But even if it's only been prescribed for a little while, tapering it over a course of a few weeks would be probably more pragmatic. Tapering for someone that's been on a drug like this for 10 years, it might take 6 to 10 months to taper off of an antipsychotic. Otherwise, the person gets overstimulated and can end up back in the hospital. The nervous system that got out of whack because of this drug will generally readapt. You will have a neuroadaptation that will go back the other direction. But coming off a drug like this too fast, all that dopamine that was being held back now suddenly hits this side of the receptor. And this side of the receptor, creatively, because just inherently, your body knows that it needs a certain amount of stimulation in order to run away from things or to be drawn towards bonding experiences and stuff, and will build more receptors. So you get more dopamine when you release this drug, hitting an excessive number of receptors better than starving for dopamine. So the tendency to go completely tilt is inherent within the nervous system, and if it's done slow, this side, the receptive side, will have time to downregulate and become more used to having that much dopamine in the system if you just do it slowly. So tapering is a very wise idea with this type of medication. Does Geodon eliminate schizophrenia? Medications don't eliminate no. It'll just be subdued, you know. It's like just putting a piece of tape over a person's mouth, like make them stop thinking. Well, no. I mean, maybe you don't hear the thoughts anymore because they can't talk, but like it's not actually eliminating the problem. It's just subduing it, and it also has a lot of other side effects that can make it very disconcerting. So it's a balance, you know. I mean, what is the quality of life is something to really look at. You know, these type of drugs, where by and large, when you walk into a psychiatrist's office, they're the first line of like, hey, this is what we give somebody, because that's all a psychiatrist really has. A psychiatrist is by and large not getting nutritional classes, you know. I mean, even going through med school itself is an exercise in like completely deprecating your own survival. I mean, you don't have time to eat, think, drink. I mean, it's just a hardcore educational process where taking care of yourself and actually living within your own body and doing exercise and having a nutrient level in your diet is not inherent in that type of program. Where it is inherent is in a naturopathic program, where that education process is teaching you how to eat right, what your blood sugar does, those types of swings, and how those can contribute to a mental health phenomenon, which at this point we've shown so unequivocally that people coming off these medications do a lot better, by and large, than the people than they were doing when they were on them. And really, it's as simple as cleaning up a person's diet, getting their body moving, getting the toxins out of their body, and taking a look at who we're surrounding ourselves by. If we're surrounding ourselves with people who are just mean to us and don't have a good perspective on life themselves, that's going to transmit to us. We are emotional beings. We pick up on the vibe and the mindset of other people around us. So changing some of that stuff is really the magic of what we do to get people off these medications and to start living life and to be balanced enough to do so. Next question, is it dangerous to drink alcohol while on Geodon? They're both sedatives. I mean, like you can get too much of a sedative for sure. So you're basically double dosing on a sedative. I wouldn't advise it. People do all sorts of unusual things. Like what I would think here, like, okay, so I'm already taking a very powerful drug because there's probably places in my life where I'm not tuning up my diet. I'm not tuning up other things. That would be the places I would start looking for my excitement and satisfaction rather than to try to throw alcohol on top of this mix. It's just like you're kind of going down the like, can I be more unconscious road, where the calling to your body is, where in this space can I become more conscious and to listen to my body and figure out what it needs and give it to it so I don't have to keep going farther down the rabbit hole. But you know, I'm not a teetotaler. I mean, certain things done in moderation seem to be okay, but it's really, if you've gotten that far off the center where you're taking an antipsychotic, your resources and your attention should be put on how can I bring the thing back around the center, not how can I add things that are going to throw me more off into the ditch. Next question. I recently got switched from Latuda to Geodon, and it's definitely been a weird adjustment period. I've been having some anxiety and difficult sleeping. Is Geodon more stimulating or more sedative? Geodon might be it depends on the dosing levels, honestly. I mean, what equivalency dosing did they do? Even drugs that are sort of synonymous, like Ativan and Xanax, switching from one to what would be considered an equivalent dosing of the other is not always the same metabolite. And especially with these antipsychotics, you're dealing with different drugs. It depends on your genetics, on whether it's going to be more stimulating or sedative to you. I would think by and large, Geodon might be slightly heavier hitting drug, but it's probably just because the way that your own physiology, the way your own biochemical individuality is geared, the drugs are just different. And so you were coming off one drug and one effect and how it was affecting your dopamine and your glutamate and how those receptors were recalibrating to something that was slightly different in the same ilk. But they're both definitely should be sedative. If they're not sedative, then a person's having the paradoxical reaction, which is one of the situations where you might want to consider. Let me see if there's a question about that in here. There is. So we'll get into what Geodon can do if it's giving you a paradoxical reaction in further questions. Next question. I just quit Geodon Cold Turkey after being on it for 6 months. I'm on day 30 of not being on it. I was previously taking Risperdal and Abilify. I'm having some problem with sleeping. I feel like I'm not sleeping at all, although I lay down for 6 or 7 hours per night. Is this normal? Normal? No, it's definitely not normal. Is it normal for coming off this type of drug? It's not abnormal, really. I mean, these are the type of strange things that happen with coming off an antipsychotic. 30 days is not... You've only been on it for 6 months. I mean, 30 days might be enough time to be in the clear, but this particular drug can have a backbite that can last months. It can be months later. It depends on a person's own genetics. Like there's a variation of what's called the catecholamine methyltransferase enzyme. Basically what that does is it transfers, it makes dopamine convert into norepinephrine and then convert into adrenaline and then break down. If a person can't make dopamine and then they can't break it down, they look as bipolar. They're craving stimulants, and then when they get stimulants, then they basically go over the top because they can't break it down. Stimulants being like dopamine. So they can't find reward, and all of a sudden they hit the emotional pharmacy because something fun happens in their life, or they take a stimulant, like they drink too much coffee or something, and then they can't come back down. So any of those type of events that get run through this withdrawal situation could stir that whole sort of china cabinet fragility back up and make it more difficult. I wouldn't have cold turkeyed personally, because you're setting yourself up for a lot of random stuff that your body now has to adjust to. I mean, it's really like, it's like being drugged behind a car, at 60. Like, why would somebody want to do that? It could just tear you up, Like, you want to, like, do this thing slowly so it's not having so many consequences. But no, it's not normal. It sounds like you're in a bit of a daze. You're probably through it, but maybe taking some melatonin and some tryptophan, see if that can help you with your sleep. And it would have been better to try to taper those medications a little bit slower than just going cold turkey. Next question. I lost a lot of weight while taking Geodon. Is it normal to lose one's appetite? I also feel like my testosterone lowered a lot. The testosterone lowering, yes. The losing weight, that is truly, truly unusual. People usually pack on weight when they take these medications, and that's something really that the medical provider should be telling people, especially people who have weight conscious issues, that have body issues, that are like, especially younger females that are trying to fit like the society's definition of pretty should at least be told that these medications are going to pack on weight. So if you've lost weight while taking Geodon, I don't know if you were wanting to lose weight, but congratulations, you're one of the very few people that I've heard that has done loses weight on antipsychotic. Next question. I was recently prescribed Geodon in a mental health facility. I can't sleep after taking it. My mind races. I was given Ativan for sleep, and when I wake, I feel like my blood sugar is low or something. I have to sit down every few minutes or feel that I will pass out. I also shake constantly. Can this be due to the Geodon? This is the paradoxical reaction to an antipsychotic almost invariably. So Geodon normally will put someone to sleep, have them feel highly sedated, because it's like taking the gas out of a motor. Of course, the motor is going to stop running. There is a paradoxical reaction in certain physiologies, certain genetic profiles, where that actually causes the motor to run hotter. And those people generally have what's called the CYP2D6 genetic polymorphism, and it is a clue that they're not tolerating this medication well. So I would ask your mental health facility provider if you if they know anything about tardive dyskinesia, if they know anything about akathisia, and because you know that this drug should be settling you down, and it's not. I mean, that should trip their brain to think, oh my God, maybe this is the wrong medication for this person. It's sad, but in mental health facilities, even the people that are supposed to be experts in these medications know very little about these medications. I mean, you ask them about the CYP2D6 and extrapyramidal symptoms, they may know it academically, but what you're experiencing is that, and they should see that in you and notice that that could be a consideration and not keep dumping this on you. Anyway, that's my take on that one. Last question, can Geodon cause akathisia? We just got into that in the last question. Akathisia is, the way people frame this up that are experiencing it, they say, I can't stop moving. I feel like I just want to run out of my skin, something. It's literally the inability to sit still because you feel so uncomfortable in your body that if you could run away from your body and not have a body, that would be preferable than this feeling. That is an adverse reaction to taking this medication. And usually it's because the person doesn't have the genetics to break down the drug metabolites and clear them, so they start accumulating in the nervous system and start having a toxic effect. And that concludes our questions about Geodon. Thank you for listening. Know that anything we're giving you here is just information based upon what we've seen in a residential population for 15 years. It's not medical advice. We don't know you enough to treat you. We don't have a license to treat through the television, and this is not medical advice. If you decide to change your medications or your supplements, please talk with a medical professional before doing so. That can guide you and assist you and look after you during the process. Thank you so much.